Good evening, colleagues, and welcome to our evening. It's not so usual because we would have wanted to have done this yesterday, but because of load shedding, unfortunately, we couldn't do our meeting. But luckily, we still have a chance. And what we have decided to do today is also to broadcast on Facebook. I know some of our colleagues will probably not be able to connect because of load shedding, or some of us will be disconnected. If you do get disconnected and you're struggling to connect on this, you can just check on the Facebook, on my Facebook book page, Albert Davida Jeleni. You check on that, you should be able to see us live. And welcome everyone. And for those obviously who are gonna see us live on Facebook and decide to join us, welcome. As always, and for the sake of those who are not usual with us, I am Albert Jeleni. I am running these talks usually, and this is meant for a small group that I am mentoring, but from time to time, I open it up to a larger group. Like today, as I'm saying that, it's also there on Facebook. These talks are being done under the banner of BizVice, which is a business advisory services company. That's the company that I own. BizVice, it's a member of the Limpopo Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and consequently a member of the National Union of Municipal Chambers of Commerce and Industry. And hence, from time to time, you will hear me referring to the chamber, and it is because we are also doing this in partnership with the chamber. We do have some of the leadership from the chamber as well, although they are coming here as entrepreneurs. Today, colleagues, we're talking money, money. I think we all want money. And what is said is that most of the SMMEs globally, and even in South Africa, they are chasing money, but we find it harder to find that money, on a daily basis. And what is said is that at times it looks like you need money for you to be able to make money. And all you needed was just some money for you to live your life. And you cannot have that some money unless you have money to do that. And I just thought we should actually talk about that. Colleagues, let me remind that these sessions are not necessarily meant to make you some kind of a DIY person. It's meant to help you make proper decisions. And one of the best decisions that you're gonna learn in life is that you need to stick to what you do best, and you need to find other people to assist you to do what they do best. It's one of those pitfalls that we usually have, particularly as SMMEs, or even bigger companies in South Africa, where you are trying to then do everything yourself. And of course, I understand, if you are expected to have your own accountant, your own lawyer, your own surveyor, and all those things, it can be very expensive. And hence, I have alluded to the issue of the chamber. It is in that space where we create partnerships. If you know someone who's in the accounting space, you can reach out to them and partner with them. So in this space, colleagues, I am hoping people are not taking notes, hoping that, now they can do it themselves. In a way, if anything, you should be more discouraged from doing things that you are not competent enough to do, because that's what is holding you back. Most of our businesses are not growing because you are trying to do everything. You are the CEO, you are the COO, you are the operations manager, you are the finance manager, you are all these things in your company. And we need to find a way to get other people to assist us in doing all those things. Some of these things, we must get used to paying for them, and of course, some of these things is through collaboration. If you have got friends, partners that are in that space, you work together. Most of the developments, most of the big companies that we see, if you go back in history, you will find that it was friends or families that came together, brought their skills together, and they were able to establish a company. Let us go to money. Now, I think the big question is, why do we even need funding? Why do you need funding? Why do you need to get money from somewhere? And from where I stand, it's because you need to be efficient. is for efficiency reasons. And if we were to define efficiency, it's actually from the company point of view, how can you produce as much, or how can you produce more in a way, and looking at your time, at your money and your resources. That's what we are looking at. You know, you want to be able to do more in a way, or you want to eliminate waste. So you need funding probably for that. And most of the time, people are not talking this language. You know, they say we need money to start a business, we need money to buy an asset, we need money, working capital, we need, you know, money to expand our business, we need money for debt restructuring. But what is the underlying reason? It's because you want to do better. You want to be efficient at what you do. Now, I have seen people who get money, but because they are not efficiency thinking, they spend money on the wrong things. Then they continue to have the same problems or other problems in a way. So whatever you do, whenever you need money, you need to ask yourself, where do I need to improve and how do I want to do better? Now, 5 key areas that if you needed money, you were gonna spend it on. One I've already mentioned is starting a business. Now, one might ask, how do I become efficient when I'm starting a business? A business starts as an idea in your head, and you can feel, or you know reasonably enough that actually the idea is gonna work. You just need to put it in action. So you need to be efficient in use of your mental resources or the few resources that you are having, because you have been strategizing, you have been writing down and all those things. But because you now need to action some few additional things, you need money to start a business. Now, many people, they don't see themselves when they start a business by saying that I'm being efficient in a way. It's more like a zamazama. I want to see what I can do. And I can tell you that by so doing, you are digging a grave for yourself. You need to have a business idea. You need to realize that there are some limitations. I'll give an example. That suppose you have a business idea, you want to sell something, but at this point in time, you do not have the money either to buy the stock or to actually set up your business. What you could do, you could then say, for me to be efficient in starting my business, I just need money to buy airtime, convince some few people to take orders from me, they give me some deposit, I go and buy whatever I need to buy and come and sell to them. Now, somebody might be thinking that, you know what, I need 30,000, only to realize that actually you just need 30 rands airtime for you to be able to be efficient in what you are actually doing. The idea is there, you know who you want to sell to, you know where you want to source. Now, what you need to do is just to be efficient in doing that. So the first point of entry is not for you to go and look for 30,000, it's for you to go and look for a customer. And maybe for that, you just need 30,000. What you need to take out from these colleagues is the fact that you need to make sure that your idea is firm in your head before you can think of sourcing money. So that is the first thing that people actually need money for, to start a business, which I'm emphasizing, it must already be there somewhere in your mind. It must be that thing that some call the intellectual property. Now, number 2, you want to buy some assets. So these are equipments that you feel, suppose you had started to take the orders, you know, and you realize that maybe you need to be able to deliver, you need a scooter. So you want to be efficient again, not because you just want to look like you are in business, because that's what we do most of the time. When we go and purchase our assets, you know, you just want to set up an office so that people can see that you have an office, you know, blah, blah, you look like you're in business and all those things. Think efficiency. What is it that I need now for me to do better in what I am doing? Then you go and look for the 4,000 or 15,000 or 30,000, you go and get a scooter for you to actually deliver what you have. Now, suppose what you intended to do at the end of the day is to set up your own boutique. You know, you do your own clothing. You will move in that manner to then say you are adding. So it means that for you to be efficient or to do better, you want to open bigger market and you want to sell your own products. I need a machine to do that. Or you realize that, no, man, I don't need to start from sewing my own clothes. Let me do branding. So the very same clothes that you were buying, you just brand them. You become efficient. So maybe all you need is an embroidery machine or a machine that can brand your clothes for you. You start to sell, you need to be more efficient, you buy the machine and all those things. Purchase of assets. So we do not just buy because we can buy. You buy because you want to be efficient. The third reason under efficiency, again, it's working capital. Now, suppose you now have that boutique. At the beginning, you were relying on orders. People must place an order for you to go and buy. Now you realize that, there's some customers that walk in and they go back because they don't find what they want. They are not ready to wait. Now you need some capital because you have noticed that there are customers already who come in and go without your products. You want to be efficient. Then you go and get money. That is your working capital. You need to buy this and that. You need to buy this and that. That will make sure that maybe in a simple term, you always have stock, you can always deliver. Working capital. The fourth one, you want to expand your business, you want to grow. You want to open another outlet or you want to buy a bigger machine. And most of the time when you are actually growing, growth itself must reasonably start to look into whether I should use the word outsourcing or getting extra hands to help you. So many people, they want to grow without getting staff to help them. You become so frustrated. So the moment you're thinking about growth, you probably need to think about adding someone into your team. And you have to then say, for me to be efficient, do I need a PA first, or I need someone for production, or I need a lawyer, or I need an accountant based on your business. When you are thinking growth, you must also think in terms of paying someone a salary. And that's what people want to avoid. You do not grow unless you get more hands. That is critical, colleagues. Unless if you are fortunate enough to live in a space of automation, you just need to get more machines and automate, more machines and automate. But the bottom line is that when you're talking growth, you are almost doubling whatever you have, you're growing whatever you have in a way. And the fifth reason you might need funding is for debt restructuring. You have taken your 30,000 loan. You can see that as you pay the 30,000 loan, you don't remain with enough money, and given you that loan for 6 months, then you go back and say, you know what, I want a loan maybe now for 3 years from somebody else, or it could be from the same people. They write you a new loan. You take that money, you pay the old loan. Now you have got a loan that has got a longer period. If you were paying something like 4,000 or so, you might find yourself paying 1,000. So you still have cash flow. So the whole point of doing that restructuring is to balance or maintain your cash flow. For those who were with us when we're talking about the value chain, you'll remember the importance of a cash flow. Now that restructuring, many people don't use that, or they don't know how to use that. It's something that can actually help you the moment you have got a challenge with your cash flow. So if you see you took a loan for 12 months, but the repayment, is really strangling you, you cannot even grow your business and all those things, you can restructure that debt. But you don't want to abuse that as well, because people tend to enjoy the fact that they have money, take more loans and all those things. And you will see that most of the time when people are refinancing their houses, then you grow so old, to your 60s, you are still owning your house, because every time, you went back and said, yeah, just give me some money, they extend your bond, you were already somewhere, 10 years or so, they extend it again, 20 years and all those things. So we don't abuse that. Now, colleagues, those will be the reasons you need to get funding. What could be the funding options? Where would you get such monies? There are a couple of areas where you can get that money. And it could be your own money or your family money, or we usually say fools. People who have got a lot of money, they don't know what to do, or even friends. But colleagues, I usually say that this one is dangerous. Most of the people who have used their own money or family money or friends' money, they either destroyed themselves or they destroyed relationships. So if anything, I would usually say stay away from using your own money to fund your business. And it becomes difficult now to then say, how do I start? Now, your own money, you know, there are different types of own money. There is using your last money. For example, you have a house, it's paid up, maybe you do not have a job, you know, you go and take a loan, use your house as a collateral. You want to start a business. That is a bit, you know, foolish in a way because you are risking your house. But if you have got employment from your salary, you're taking a bit of your money, you know, you put towards business, there's nothing wrong with that. If you go to a friend, you know, you ask them to take a loan for you because you are blacklisted, that is a bit dangerous. You know, if your business doesn't make it, you have put them in danger. So I'm not necessarily saying don't use your own money, don't use your last money in a way, or don't force somebody to go into debt for you to be in business, more especially if that debt is going to affect you as an individual. You need to look for debt that is going to affect a business, or you can detach yourself from that, or you can file for bankruptcy or whatever that may be. So that is the first one. The second one is the banks. Yeah, you know, the banks are not easy. I think most of us have tried the banks, you know, they've got so many reasons and all those things. But the key issue is that you just need to learn the system. Once you learn the system, it's easy to get money from the bank. You know, they'll talk about credit score. They don't compromise on that. And these days, it's funny because they will then say to you, you need to show that you have got credit. And you need to show that you are actually maintaining that credit. So some of us will then say, no, but I don't need, you know, Scoloto and all those things. If you are too clean, they don't want you. And if you have got debt and you're not maintaining it, they also don't want you. They want you to have some Scoloto and demonstrate that you are actually paying. They want you to demonstrate that you are getting money on a monthly basis. That thing of saying that, yeah, you know, my clients are paying late and all those things, they don't want to hear that. They want to see money coming into your account every time. If you can master that, you know, then you are good. It means that when you don't have money, it's either you can talk to friends or family, you know, push some money through your account. That is the second option. The third option is investors. You know, people who like your business and they are willing to put money. Again, this is not so easy in South Africa. In a way, in other countries, it's easy. I'm glad I saw our government has announced that they are going to Silicon Valley to go and learn some things when it comes to incubation. So maybe when they come back, it's going to be easy, you know, to get investors, because in Silicon Valley, it's one area where it's easy to get investors into your business. So that's not so easy in South Africa. Now we've got government loans, various schemes by government and grants. This one is easy, or perhaps it's meant to be easy. But yeah, you know, they take their time. So if you have an idea today, you know, you saw an opportunity, just to give an example, if it was during COVID, you saw an opportunity, you put an application, it's only now that they are responding to you. And all you wanted to do was to supply some masks and sanitizers at the beginning, and you didn't get that money. That is the biggest challenge with government loans, schemes, and grants. But these are meant to be easy. And the last option is what we might call charitable schemes or agencies. And this one, you know, maybe it's about 50-50. But you need to understand what it means to be a social entrepreneur. Many people don't understand that. Most of the time, they just sacrifice themselves. You know, you go to communities, you find, you know, hardworking ladies, you know, they are really sacrificing themselves in various community work and all those things. But they don't know how to turn it around to be a business and what is called social entrepreneurship. And the reason they are doing that is because they were told, you know, it has to be a non-profit company. A non-profit company doesn't mean that it doesn't make profit. It only means that that profit is not for the shareholders. In a private company, you have employees and other people that might be interested. When there is profit, and it's only me who is the director, all that profit comes to me. In a non-profit company, if we are there, we started it being 3 or 5. When there is profit, it's not ours. We're supposed to look for an opportunity within the organization and plow that money. So you don't withdraw that money and say, yeah, we made profit. That's what it means. But if you have got an NPO or NPC, you should be making money. So those are the funding options that we have, colleagues. Now, we have indicated why would you need funding and funding options, but what's critical, colleagues, even if you know the funding options, you know why you need to be funded, you must be fundable. So I just want to touch on some few things that would make you to be fundable. In my view, and some other people might debate, in my view, there are 2 key issues that determine whether you're fundable or not. One, it's competitiveness, or put differently, the barriers that you need to overcome for you to get that money. Competitiveness. The first one under competitiveness is the idea that we have. So if you have got a superior idea, you know, then you become fundable easily. Number 2, compliance to requirements. I've already indicated the requirements to banks. You know, you then become competitive because remember, you're competing with other people as well. There are so many people who want the bank's money, and the bank will prefer to give it to those who comply. So those are the barriers that you must overcome. And the last one, which people may not necessarily think that is part of being competitive, is fraud and corruption. I'm not saying that you must be good in fraud and corruption. I'm saying you need to be aware that it exists and it's standing on your way to get your money. So whether it's in the bank or it's in the private company or it's in the government or whatever, there are people who wants to enrich themselves. And they will take you from pillar to post simply because they want to squeeze some money out of you. This is everywhere. It's there. And for you to know how to deal with that, it becomes a competitive advantage. Many people are failing because they are naive about this. As you put your application through, you don't have in mind that some of those people want to steal your idea. Some of those people want to squeeze some money out of you, you know, some kind of a bribe and all those things. You need to be aware of those things, and you need to have a medicine for that. You need to know how to deal with that. So for example, a very simple thing that if it's just from one person to the other, you know, you can make them sign a confidentiality agreement. Now, when you go to government, it's a bit difficult, but you can make sure that we have got a trace of your communication. Use email, use some kind of writing for you to have some kind of evidence at the end of the day. Don't just call them, I have this brilliant idea and all those things. The next thing you go and say, yeah, but they stole my idea. You know, put it in an email, send it to them. Try by all means to be upfront in terms of what you can tolerate or what you cannot tolerate. So they need to know upfront that, you know what, as for me, I am not for corruption and all those things. The last one, strength in numbers. Many people are defeated because they are walking alone. I've already mentioned that there is a chamber that this vice is a part of. You know, I get calls day in, day out of people who are struggling either with government, you know, being ripped off by individuals. You pay them, they didn't give you what you want. And within that space, if there are members who are able to help them. So that is another power where if you hear that somebody is talking a language that you don't like, you can just tell them that, you know, I have got brothers and sisters and we're going to deal with you. And I usually give an example of the taxi industry, you know, that is a force that can deal with anything. So competitiveness, colleagues, it talks about the idea that you have, it must be good. You must comply to requirements. You must be aware of fraud and corruption, and you must be able to deal with that. And then you are competitive, or put differently, barriers to overcome. The other thing that will make it to be fundable, it's how beneficial is it to the person who gives you money? Tit for tat, scratch my back, I scratch your back. When you go to the bank, you know, they're not just giving you money because they like you, you know, they want to make money out of you. So return on investment, they look at your business, they go like, them, and this guy is going to be in the money. We want to give this guy money. So you become fundable because they are looking at what they're going to benefit at the end of the day. People who must invest in your business, they are looking into return in investment. People who must help you now, they are looking at the fact that you'll be able to help them tomorrow and all those things. And what do I get, or beneficial? It's also good cause, charitable, is it benefiting the community in totality? Or from the government point of view or other sectors, is the issue of, is driving the agenda of economic development. So if your idea that we have, is pushing the agenda of government, you win. Now, let me emphasize on this. There are so many people who come up with ideas, they go to government and they think they can convince government to think differently with regards to their 2030 plans, their IDP and all those things. No. They've thought about that. Politically, they know they are correct, even if economically they are not correct. So most of the time you want to find a way to align with what they have planned for you to easily get money. Even the venture capitalists, people who must invest in your business, if they find that you are planning to build a hotel in an area where the government is not planning additional support services towards hotel services, they're not going to fund you. When they want to fund you, they're going to look at everything, is the government thinking along those lines. So you need to learn to read, all the government documents, and within those documents, there are brilliant ideas on how they want to develop the country, the economy. You can use that and start a business based on that. That makes you fundable, particularly for government. If you go there and say, government, the idea that I have, it's going to help you, and you must learn to use the buzzwords. They talk about DDM, District Development Model. It's going to help you to implement the District Development Model. It's going to help you to implement the SEZ. It's going to help you to implement the LED strategy or the IDP, Vision 2030 or whatever. You talk in that language, they are likely to give you the money. Being fundable, key issues, being competitive, and it being beneficial. Now, some funding houses, because I've spoken about, you can get the money from the bank, you can get it from government, you can get it. I just want to zoom a little bit into government so that you understand. With the banks, I would imagine that we know they are mainstream banks, and there are those smaller banks or companies that are in the space of lending. They're not necessarily banks, that in those space. If you Google, most of them are there, even crowdfunding and all those things. But allow me to zoom into the government ones now. We've got the IDC, we've got CIFA, we've got NEF, we've got NYDA, we've got Land Bank, we've got the lottery, we've got the programs within DTI. Couple of programs, particularly that talk to transformation, BE related. So these are some of the institutions that you can get money. Now, because these ones work hand in hand with government or are linked to government, most of the time they do not duplicate. So you have got IDC, usually they focus on big industrial businesses. And what you will then realize that CIFA, it's actually a baby of IDC, then they are into soft things and smaller amounts. So therefore, usually they do not duplicate. You need to study all of them to understand which one focuses on what. The NEF, the National Empowerment Fund, as well, is looking more into the issues of empowering the previously disadvantaged, women, youth, people living with disability. NYDA is looking at the youth, Land Bank, specifically agriculture. And the lottery, it's all about community development. And like I have mentioned, DTI programs, most of the time, they are about unlocking the economy and being equitable. So they look into BEs and all those things. Now, as I go towards closure now, I'm going to talk specifically about CIFA and the lottery. And I'm going to put a presentation on your screen for you to be able to see and follow what I am talking about. CIFA has got various fundings, and I'm not going to talk as if I work for CIFA. I have just looked at their programs, and I want to talk about a particular program that they are really working very hard at this point in time. There are other programs. You can go to the website and you can learn on that. They talk about TREP, township and rural areas in a way. So they've got special funding for that. And in the past couple of months, they were looking into the following sectors only. They were looking into clothing and textiles. So if you are making clothes or you are into fashion and all those things, they were looking into bakeries. They were looking into chisanyama. They were looking into retail, mainly spaza shops. They were looking into automotive, personal care, and artisans. However, as of about 30 days or so, they have opened up to many others. So you will see I've highlighted there, not limited to the following sectors. So I remember there were a couple of people who came to me previously to say that if I want to do agriculture, can I then apply in the Warawara and all those things? And now, as far as I understand, you can do any application. And this is good because what they were doing before was very idiotic, if I might say. They were creating some kind of an artificial demand for certain sectors. And they're not supposed to do that in a way. They're supposed to allow the market to dictate. So what was going to happen if they continued in that manner is that every village was going to have a bakery in a way, and that wouldn't be good for business. They were going to flood the market with bakeries or chisanyamas. So now they have opened up for all of those. The other thing that they have done, they've increased the amount to 1 million. Previously, it was up to 350,000. I've got few of my colleagues who are already funded for that 350,000. And trust me, they are crying because it's not enough. It's just not enough to do business in a way. I think for those who haven't been approved, you might be better off having to restart the process in a way, because you get the equipments for 350,000. If you are lucky, out of that 50,000, is towards the working capital, and that is not enough, colleagues. Working capital of the 50,000. Suppose you're running a bakery, you've got the working capital for 50,000. You can only buy whatever you want to use from the local shops. You cannot run a bakery when you're buying from a retailer. You need to go and buy in bulk and all those things. So going up to 1 million now, it gives an opportunity. But also, most of the people who've been funded now, they were not buying real industrial equipment. They were buying semi-domestic equipment, and that is not good for business. If you're in the bakery space, good ovens probably start about 200,000. So out of 350, you cannot just buy an oven, for 200,000. You need a couple of things and all those things. But it means that now, you probably can spend about 600,000 towards your equipment, 400,000 towards your working capital. So that is the advantage. There is a little bit of a grant there, but the maximum grant there is 100,000. Yeah, and usually up to 100,000, it's 50%. So if you're taking 100,000 only, then the loan will be 50,000 and the other will be a grant, just going like that. But you can get more information from their website. So with this one, colleagues, like I'm saying, sometimes you need to align with government. They're talking TREP, it's a buzzword. You go with it. Let us go TREP for now. It has got more money. It's something that we need to look into. Just remember what I've said. You need money to increase efficiency. And remember the issues of being competitive. But this is not the opportunity to be missed. The second one that I'm going to talk about is the lottery. And I think many people have missed this money. And this one makes me angry, because it's money that we're collecting from our addicted friends who play lottery left and right, from our neighbors. So the least we can do is to compensate them by bringing development into our community. So every community should be benefiting from the lottery, but it relies on you and me as business people to realize that we can be social entrepreneurs. So if you're here, you're running a business and all those things, please, man, on the side, look into being a social entrepreneur. Your community needs that money. Every community should benefit. You know, the lottery has got 4 key areas that they fund. The first one is sports and recreation. You know, so you can get the kids in your village, you know, the gear that they need to actually play. You know, they can participate in various tournaments, you know, cover their transport, recreational activities. Many of the villages or rural areas don't have swimming pools and all those things. You know, you can look into doing that. Awareness campaigns, in a way, you know, the issues of training some officials who can run the games and all that. Talent identification. You know, we usually watch on TV different shows on talent identification. You can go for that, talent search, where, you know, you get into the community, all those things, you know, athletes, coach support groups, participation in domestic and international competitions. Again, that is for certain target groups. We need to step into that. There are so many people who are doing most of voluntary work in our community that we can step in and help. We need to stop saying that we're into business. Let's consider this as a business. From the lottery point of view, usually you will get a reasonable payout for your administration to do that. The second one is arts, culture, and national heritage. Now, this is critical even for people who are in the tourism space. Your business is struggling because there is nothing to see in your area. There isn't a museum. There aren't cultural activities and all those things. So you need to work on this as well to make sure that you can have facilities. You know, it can assist with learners, you know, being trained in drama, theater, and all those things. Creation of ensembles from music, drama and dance, you know, exhibitions, creation of new original works and all formats. You know, all these things can actually even help our businesses, because most of our businesses are suffering because we don't have facilities, but they are also suffering because the people we live amongst are in poverty. You know, so some of those things that we're trying to do, they don't even understand. Charity sectors, here they are focusing on things like the creche, you know, home-based, you know, the elderly, victim empowerments, all those things that we see in our communities. Almost every community has got a creche, you know, some home-based care people that are moving up and down on a voluntary basis. There is money from the lottery to be able to do that. And as business people, again, I'll encourage us to get into that space. Miscellaneous is for this and that. So if you can be creative over and above, you know, those that we have mentioned, the arts, culture and heritage, charities, sports and recreation, you can put your own unique proposal. Usually, if this proposal is supporting the government endeavor, you know, what government is planning, you're likely to get that money. Now, again, I must emphasize that here it also points to business people, people who can point to an idea and say, I need to work on that one. What are the requirements for the lottery? They open calls. I think they just opened calls sometime last month. So already they are ready for applications. And they may open calls at different times based on what I've mentioned, you know, those key areas in a way, and usually it's once a year, and that's when you make applications. They also have a tendency of not having a closing date, but the sooner the better, because they want to be able to run the projects in a way. So lottery, it's opened, go give them your ideas. The application documents, they are very organized. You know, they've got a way in which they want things to be done. You go to their website, you'll get everything that you need for you to be able to submit the application. But it's critical that you stick to what they said you must use. All those application documents, application forms, you know, their budget spreadsheets and all those things. You just need to make sure that you have that. Project motivation, plan and budget. And that's where I say to people, stop trying to be a DIY. You know, you need professionals to do this. So if you want it to happen for your community, you need to engage somebody who's able to do a motivation. A motivation is not your ability to say, yeah, wara, 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 and all those things. It's you understanding the direction of government and then motivate that is going to meet the objectives of government. So you need someone who understands these things. Why is it needed in your community? It's not because you can speak better English and all those things. You need to have the facts. You need to understand the issues of budgeting and all those things. You need professionals for that. Supporting documents, these are the documents that they need from you. It could be the registration certificate, tax clearance if they need that, and all those things, and then additional documents as well. This could be maybe information that they may need about your area, particularly if you're proposing something that is not so common. You know, they may need additional documents. Sometimes they may get back to you, you know, for additional documents, but it's up to you to really sniff and understand what else they might need for you to then motivate your case. The funding categories for lottery, they've got small, medium, and large. On the small, it's funding up to 500,000. The big difference between small, medium, and large is the fact that on small, they just want to see your bank statements. They don't need audited financial statements. On medium is 500,000 up to 10 million. And there they need audited financial statements for at least 2 years. And then on large, again, it's up to 10 million. And again, they need audited financial statements. And of course, the medium and large there, you can see the range is too big, you know, between 500,000 and 10 million. So you might find that up to 5 million, that might be seen as medium. That's what they used to do in the past, but I've seen their information. It's like that now. So that is the funding from the lottery colleagues, and I think I am done with my presentation. Now, colleagues, like I've said, this is not necessarily for you at DIY, it's for you to make a decision, identify who can help you, for you to be able to get the money, identify where you are lacking, why you are not getting the money, and get proper help. At BizVice, that's what we do. And for those who want to move quickly, you contact us, we help you. And for those who are still running away from paying, you cannot run away from paying. It's part and parcel of life. If you don't pay, then, you know, yeah, like peanuts and monkeys, that's what they say. So if you need assistance, we do have different types of ways to assist. There are people who wouldn't have money upfront. We have got ways of then getting into an agreement just to make sure that we assist you. You pay when you are funded, but obviously there will be a minimum amount that you need to pay up front. There are also issues of being paired. So for example, sometimes as an organization that has got audited financial statements, you can apply for another organization that is smaller. So if you are smaller, you do not have audited financial statement, or you don't even have a bank statement, you can approach another organization that has once been funded by lottery. They are allowed to apply, including you, in their application. So for example, if they are running a crash, they can then regard you as their other crash and allocate you 500,000 in there. So these are some of those things that we assist with: joint venture facilitation, the issues of making sure that you comply, doing all those things for you, administration of your SMME. You know, for the fact that you are a one-man show, it doesn't mean that your SMME or your company doesn't need to be administered. You know, we assist with all those things to make sure that you fund it. Colleagues, we have come to the end of our session today. If there is a question or any comment, I will allow people to do just that. You can raise your hand, or you can just unmute and speak, because at times I'm not able to see the hand. Thank you very much, colleagues, for joining us, and even for those who are on Facebook. Any hands, any question? All right, I think we are all happy. We are all ready to go and make money. I think somebody has unmuted themselves. You can be on the platform. I'll be able to recognize who you are.
Oh, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm all right, yourself.
Nice. Good, thanks. Although I caught the presentation, like I was late, I was just invited now via WhatsApp by a brother of mine from Kowanko, Ntate Mlapsan. So I just want to ask you, in terms of bank statements, how long do they need if you are still a small enterprise? Is it 6 months, 12 months, and what do they look at? Because I was discouraged the last time when they say maybe when you buy chicken licken, they will come and look at your bank statement and they refuse to fund you or something like that, just as an example. Thank you.
All right. Generally, they are looking to fund organizations that have been in existence for 2 years. But at times they are lenient when it comes to the issues of the bank account, because it's not everyone who's able to produce a bank account. So usually as a standard, 3-6 months or so, they need to see that you have been managing your account. The issues of what you buy and all those things, with your money prior to their money, they are usually not so much worried. But with their money, they are very clear on how you actually use it. So if you have got a financial statement, a bank statement, and you have got some records on the side, in terms of what you bought and all, and why you bought that for, then they are able to deal with those aspects. Now, you need to remember that you are also competing with other people. So they will even find some other things. So if they say you bought KFC and you cannot justify why, then they can use that as a reason not to give money. But also bear in mind what I said, the issue of corruption as well. At times, they just want to frustrate you so that you end up saying, can we talk, on the side. Thank you very much for joining us. I see a hand, Neti Litsoalo. You can be on the platform.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I ask you a question on about the. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, your line it's cutting.
Hello.
Your line is cutting, but you can try and speak.
Okay. I just want to ask a question based on the NPC. I'm running an NPC company, and then the challenge that we having is that what you have raised that you said that we are making profit. Previously we tried to run a campaign which was gonna give us a profit of 6 million per year. And then the government and other stakeholders didn't want to get involved because they said that is a lot of money to make as a non-profit organization. So my question is, how do we convince them that we are not making money for ourselves? We are making money to help the community. Thank you.
All right. I think if, because some of them, they then say to you, what will be your contribution? So if you go out there and say, I'm looking for 200,000, but I'm willing to bring on board so much amount. Now, if you talk about the profit that you're going to make, they're skeptical because many people tend to fight over such monies. But if we were to talk about the contribution, so if you could find a way to convert that profit in a way to then say clearly what is it that you're going to do to benefit. But also, if you look like you're coming up with a model that is highly profitable, the preference should then be, why don't you go into real business? Because you don't want to confuse a space of entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. If the business model looks like you just need funding to initiate, you just need money to kickstart, you can make a lot of money. I would say that just go straight for funding, run the NPC or NPO as a foundation of the major company. So where you need donations or application for funding, where you don't make a lot of profit, then you use the foundation. Where you look like you make a lot of profit, then you use a company, make money. It will be up to you to plow it back. Actually, that's what is preferable. Money, it's more useful if it's being spent by an entrepreneur, you know, either on themselves or growing the business because they can employ more people. If it's a charitable thing that is making more profit, it's a bit of a conflict. Personally, I wouldn't want to fund something that can turn so much money, you know, for the people. I would say register it as a company, go and look for a proper loan in a way. That would be my advice. But in terms of why they do that, I wouldn't know. I can only speculate on that. Your line was not so clear, and hopefully colleagues, apologies about that. I think the network played some havoc with us there, and probably because of load shedding. I think I had answered the question for Litswalo. I don't know if there is any other question or any comment, colleagues? All right. Allow me to then say that we have come to the end of our session for today. And again, if you need assistance, please give us a shout. At BizVice, our number is 065 924 3925, and I have put it on the chart there. If you need help, then we can help you. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Have a good evening. And please don't go and sleep. Let us go and chase money and make money. It's a year of making money, particularly from the chamber point of view. We have been working very hard to make sure that we can kick doors open. And this time around, we need to make sure that we can kick the doors open. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us.